Hello, welcome to Sikich Live Thursday edition. It is 2:30. That means we are going to be talking about ERP today. And this topic is about the retail industry and the ERP technology that can power it. So without further ado, let's bring on our guests. And remember, if you're watching this, please share, like, subscribe, comment, leave a comment, and we will address that on the show here. So here we have Tim Tucker and Ron Fox. They are our retail industry experts, and we are going to talk to them about ERP and the retail industry. So I think we'll have each of you kind of introduce yourself. Tim?
Sure, thanks, Ryan. Tim Tucker. I'm the director of one of our ERP practices here at Sikich. Focus on a number of industries, and retail is one of them. And with me is one of my cohorts, Ron Fox. Ron.
Hi, thank you. I'm Ron Fox. I'm an engagement manager here at Sikich. My specialty is in the retail market. Been doing retail software and hospitality restaurants since probably about 2005. So a few days in the market. Had hair when I started that process.
Well, and I'm sure, lots of other things have changed in the retail industry too, especially now. I mean, we're seeing rapid change within the industry. So let's just dive right into it. Can you run a retail business entirely from the cloud?
That's a phenomenal question, and it's one that has a lot of answers. The big push in the industry is to get rid of a lot of the front of house hardware, to have thin, small devices, not the great big cash registers we're used to in the past. And these tablets and things are limited horsepower. And so running it in the cloud is a good advantage. If you'd asked me 2 years ago, my answer would have been absolutely no. Critical retail components and things that you need to be, there and pounding all day long, every day. Think of a grocery store or something high volume. I would have said absolutely no. We're getting to a point with the Microsoft cloud and the different environments out there, and with our network infrastructures, that the answer is becoming yes. You see a lot of small shops running completely on cloud type devices, and the challenge has always been things like your hardware. How do you hook up to a retail printer or a scanner or whatever with these? We've overcome a lot of those things, so it's definitely doable now. And we're going to talk a little bit more about some ways to mitigate the risk that comes with that. But cloud's bringing so many cool things to the table. Our agile deployment of new features. If you're running fully in the cloud, you come up with a new feature, it's there. You just, once it's in the head office type of environment, you've got things available to your stores immediately. It expands our devices available to a retailer. Massively. We used to be hooked into, you would buy one POS type of hardware and you would only do that over and over. We can really leverage the gains that Microsoft and others have made in being kind of platform agnostic. So we can have, iDevices, iPads or PCs, everything mixed in together and run a retail environment. So it's pretty exciting what the cloud has brought to retail. Turning up a new location, I can deploy, a new store very, very rapidly because I don't have to go out and think in terms of a whole hardware, forklifts coming in and bringing in servers and workstations and whatever. We can pop up a store with a tablet and a couple of devices out in front of a store somewhere. It's just opened up a whole array of really exciting things in the market. So.
Yeah, I might add to that. It's not necessarily an either or proposition, right? It's not an absolute choice where it's either cloud or not. With the right platforms, you can do both. You could do one or the other. You can have a hybrid mix of both if you want, where you might have different use cases or scenarios, even within the same retail organization, the same business.
Yeah, see him jumping down to the next question, Ryan.
Yes. Hybrid systems. That's kind of an interesting topic to bring up. It doesn't have to be as you said, either or. There can be kind of a mix of that. So maybe we explore that topic a little bit. Tim, can you kind of explain what a hybrid solution is all the way to maybe a more pure cloud solution?
There are scenarios where you might have a situation where, the main core background ERP components managing your finance, accounting, your items, your pricing, your promotions, back of the house types of things, running that, say, for example, purely out of the cloud. And then you may have a remote, I'm kind of, there's a lot of different scenarios, but I'm kind of giving you one, a scenario where maybe you have a store that, for whatever reason, maybe they don't have great bandwidth capabilities. They're kind of on the edge somewhere. And so you need to have, on-premise type of hardware to run that store and periodically do batch transactions to, send it off hours or whatever it is back to the main office. That could be one use case. There are probably other, well, there are others, but that's an example where you might have something like that.
Yeah, having that hybrid option is just an absolutely critical thing for a good share of retailers to be able to say, my internet's down, what can I keep doing? And to be able to keep taking transactions, keep making sales, keep talking to customers, looking up items, doing things for them. Maybe have a handheld device that you can transfer sales to, or even some, not all, but some of the EFT, your credit card transactions. You can say, when I'm offline, I'm going to go ahead and take credit cards up to some limit. It could be a store limit, it could be a transactional limit. There's some really interesting options where you can choose your level of risk at the store. I can say, I am going to keep taking customers' money, even though I can't validate it online, and maybe do that later. So that ability to just keep taking a transaction or falling back to local hardware. I may have a little server sitting in the corner and its job is to just give me a backup operation. It's quite amazing. In the hardware, the way we manage hardware anymore, where we have maybe a device or multiple device servers within a premise. So then if I have a new device and I want to hook up to it, I just tell it the server's over there, and it's just it can be a small device, it can be a PC, whatever. And no longer do I have to, have device drivers and, all sorts of complexity with every single device. Again, it's hybrid. I can fall back and be local, but I still don't need any fancy setup on each device. I can manage those setups centrally back in the cloud. I've got all of my configuration there that comes down, and when it fails over, the local POS says, hey, cloud's not there anymore, hit locally.
So internet goes down, your connection to the cloud is severed, essentially. What happens then?
That's where I kind of led myself into that, but the cloud connection stops. The POS environment is sensing, am I online? Am I talking to my central, my cloud? If not, fall to a local. I could be falling back to a cash register, a POS in the store that's actually a PC, or I could be falling back to my local machines or a server in the store. You can just automatically, you'll get a blip, you'll get it on hold, you'll start over at a new transaction, but just like you had never been offline. And then the whole system is pinging the whole time and saying, are we back online? Are we back online? And as soon as it comes up, it'll just transfer for you.
And the levels of complexity and how you build that out is highly tailorable to the nature of the business. So
Yep.
if you have a series of stores where each one just has, for example, 2 or 3 point of sale terminals, it may not be necessary to have store servers. They can handle that load themselves. If you have a larger operation where you've got high volume, 10 lanes of checkout lanes, it might make sense to say, all those fall back to a store server, and then it, is sensing, do I have cloud connection or not? And then even if that store server goes down, maybe those individual lanes can continue on for a point at a time. So depending on, the complexity and the requirements for redundancy, you can have all these options. The main goal is, while the doors are open in a retail environment, you don't ever want to turn business away, right? So, being able to configure the systems to handle all these different scenarios is really important.
And so it seems like we're all kind of hinting at like this big all-in-one type of system where everything's connected. It's all working together as it should. So what is like the benefit of having kind of that one system rather than like we've been talking about, different servers and POS systems and all these kinds of things? Is that all-in-one aspect? How does that play in?
Yeah, maybe I'll take the first crack at setting the table for that. So, the solution that we're talking about when we talk about all-in-one, it's your back-end finance and accounting, how you buy stuff, how you pay for stuff. It's also your item management, member management, pricing, promotion management, and then all the way down to POSs. And so, the ability to have a solution that is all-inclusive instead of kind of a pick your favorite thing that does accounting, pick your favorite thing that does inventory management, pick your favorite, all the other stuff I just said, gives you a cohesive solution where every transaction, everything flows to the back end of the office, and everything from the back of the office flows out onto the store floor where it needs to be, and you don't have to create a lot of complex integrations if you don't want to. So that's really, from a high level, the benefit. Now, does that mean the solution that we're talking about, LS Central with Microsoft Business Central, can't also use best of breed solutions if you really want to? Of course it can. It does have the ability to do really interesting integrations, but we find for a large number of retail types of businesses and operations, this solution really presents a compelling reason to have everything you need all in one. Ron, do you want to expand on that?
Yeah, no, that was exactly it. Is that idea that I have one view of my customer. I don't have to integrate customers in and out of different systems. It's the same item record. It's the same product master, the pricing, everything being the same throughout the entire process. So I can have a BI system running in the background that is able to bring together POS transactions that are exactly the same as order entry or web transactions. The idea that we can sell online, we have our e-commerce platform, and we can return in the store, or we can buy something in a store and potentially see that transaction when I get home on my website, and no need to have fancy, strange integrations. It's all the same data set across this whole market. We've done enough integrations in different, in the retail world for years. And we mentioned it earlier. The traditional is I have a POS system and I have an ERP system. And we've got to do special work to get those two things to talk. And in the offering we're putting forth, the LS Central, it's all one system. It's end to end the same thing. It just simplifies and makes it so everybody in our organization understands what's going on. Not I understand retail, but I don't understand an order entry. It becomes very, very clean.
That plus the fact that we're talking about something that's powered by Microsoft on the back end, and that you can leverage, the extensive solutions offering from Microsoft 365 and the other Power Platform products, BI products. It becomes a very compelling solution when you look at it in its entirety of what can be accomplished in a business with an environment like this.
Even the ability to take a non-traditional retailer's need. So a retailer normally is going to have a retail system. We can leverage manufacturing. We can leverage jobs to build out a new building. We can leverage all of these incredible, powerful, rich things that are in the ERP system and have them right there within the retail environment. So a retailer can literally manage end to end. They can be in fixed assets. They can be in, all of these other areas I've just talked about.
Warehousing really, to manage distribution between locations, A
lot of retailers have big warehousing operations, and they, that tends to get forgotten in the retailer's environment when people are selling POS systems. It's like, no, I've got a full WMS. I can help you handle the logistics. And then the rich environment of extra, I'm going to call them plugins for the moment, of things that you can plug into this environment that are ready built and on the market for it. It's an amazing time, I think.
And like you just talked about a whole lot of things there. Are there any other advantages to having this LS Retail centralized system?
Yeah, for me, that ability to expand and to bring in new features of my business that I've never thought of before. I've been a retailer. I'm running along. Somebody comes in and says, we should serve food. I can immediately become a hospitality provider. I can provide restaurant services. I can print, I can put in a coffee bar. It's all built in. And then this, rich Microsoft environment we're talking about, where I can go get a plugin that common right now is what's the endless aisle. So I have stuff in my warehouse that, normally you would put an order in on the website and you'd ship it out of your warehouse. Now we can say, no, I'm going to fulfill those things from the stores. So the store needs the ability to do shipping and packing and all those things. We can say, yep, got that plug in and we're ready to go. It's just a simple matter of, finding a new piece of the application we want to deploy. And being in the cloud, I mentioned kind of early on, is once it's turned on, it's available to everyone just very quickly. This whole concept of a single system to support everything from the front counter to the warehouse to accounting, all the way, across the board. It's just an amazing time in terms of what is available to a retailer and one end-to-end system.
Tim, is there anything else to add, or should we go to the final question here?
Yeah, I think we've covered that pretty well. Probably move to the last question.
All right. So, I think for retailers watching this, we're in a period of massive change just in terms of how people go about their day-to-day lives. Of course, with all this cloud connection, with some of the technology that powers their business. What are some trends you two are seeing kind of within the industry that are maybe either surprising or might help other retailers kind of navigate all of this kind of happening?
Well, one trend that I've seen, and I know Ron has seen as well, is that this kind of COVID world that caught everybody by surprise has certainly caught a number of people in the retail industry by surprise, and some companies that haven't thought of the ability to both sell what Ron just said, sell online, fulfill in stores, or fulfill from a warehouse or distribution center, caught them off guard. And when you have to close your doors because the government says you have to, do you have the ability to continue to operate and have the systems in place to facilitate that operation? And so we're starting to get inquiries from companies that they're saying, I should have thought about this last year. I should have thought about this type of thing 2 years ago. And yeah, we know it's an effort, and we know that there's a budget that is needed to do this. But if we had this in place, we would be a lot better off today. We might be humming along just like other businesses. I think we all kind of heard the stories about how well Amazon is doing right now because everyone shifted to online, right? Well, there's no reason why any retailer can't operate in a similar manner. So, for companies that have been sitting on the sidelines and not taking a look at these types of modern solutions for your operation to run your business, you really should be. And that's probably, in my opinion, one of the current trends. We're starting to see people that are who maybe haven't taken it serious are now starting to. Ron, what are your thoughts?
That's exactly the change that's happened in the last half a year. The people that were leveraging technologies, and sometimes it feels like technology for technology's sake or whatever, but when you suddenly realize I'm situated in a place where I can adapt and change rapidly, I can go from a brick and mortar to an online, the bigger portion of my business. We had a customer come to us early this year and say, my business has totally changed. It hasn't gone down. It just changed. I now have people in my stores that are just picking and shipping things because I can't get anyone in, but the product is still in demand. Very unique time, but that ability to pivot is really based on having good technology in the background.
That's right.
It sounds like everything we talked about today kind of offers a path to that vision there. So thank you.
It absolutely does.
Yes, thank you both. For coming on today, giving us a look a little deeper at some of the retail technology and the ERP systems that other retailers can take advantage of. And that wraps up our episode of Sikich Live today. And again, if you haven't already, be sure to follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube. We stream here twice a week, and we bring the latest in technology news as well as other aspects of technology and industry news that we have information on. So thank you to both, and we'll see you all next time.
Thank you,
Sounds
Ryan.
good. See ya.
Thanks.